Have you ever felt that frustration? You know the one, where it just seems like your child doesn't want to learn? It's a tough spot to be in. But what if the problem isn't their desire at all? What if we've been looking at it all wrong? Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea that flips that whole script on its head.
Right off the bat, let's just let this sink in. Your child doesn't not want to learn. This idea challenges us to look past all that surface-level stuff, the fidgeting, the resistance, and ask a much deeper question. If it's not a lack of will, then what on earth is actually going on inside their head?
So, the source we're looking at proposes a diagnosis, and it's probably not what you're thinking. It's not about attention deficits or some lack of motivation. No, the diagnosis is about their environment. The child is, put simply, drowning in noise.
I mean, just try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. They're living in this constant storm of commands and expectations. It's just this endless stream of you must do this, hurry up, remember that, and keep up with everybody else. It's just a total cognitive overload.
And this is the absolute heart of the problem. On the one hand, yeah, the world demands their focus. We expect it. But here's the kicker. Has anyone ever actually sat them down and taught them how to do it? How to consciously flip that switch and turn on their brain to direct their focus? Probably not.
Okay, so what happens if this state of being completely overwhelmed just keeps going on, unchecked? Well, it doesn't just magically disappear. It actually leads to a very specific and, frankly, a very unhelpful learned behavior. And this is the tough part. This is the reality. If nothing changes, the child's brain does what brains do. It adapts. It learns to operate inside all that noise. And the one thing it learns, the fundamental lesson, is chaos. Being unfocused becomes its default setting.
And wow, check out this metaphor used to describe what that feels like. They will jump from thought to thought, like from stool to stool in a dark room. Can you just picture that for a second? It's completely reactive, it's unstable, and there's no clear path. It's just one desperate leap after another in the dark, just hoping you land on something solid.
All right, so that's the problem. And it sounds kind of bleak, but here's where we pivot. This is the good part, the solution. And it's this beautifully simple yet really profound way of reframing how we should be thinking about a child's mind.
So instead of thinking of the brain as a muscle you have to force, or some empty bucket you just have to fill with facts, think of it like this. The brain is a light, and just like any light, it has a switch. It can be turned on. See, the problem isn't a broken bulb. It's that the child was never shown where the light switch is.
So the big question is, how do we show them the switch? Well, the source material is crystal clear about this. It is not about hype or pressure or motivational speeches. It's about a method. It's about giving them an instruction manual for their own mind.
And you can really see the two different worlds here. On the left, you've got the old way, the ineffective way, relying on external stuff like pressure and shouting to try and force a result. But on the right, that's the effective approach. It's all about building an internal framework. You replace that outside pressure with an inside system, and you replace all that shouting with moments of real insight and understanding.
So what does this system actually look like? Well, it's built on 3 core pillars. First, and this is the foundation for everything, you teach the actual skill of developing and holding their attention. Second, you give them the tools to enhance their memory, which is what makes learning actually stick. And third, you help them cultivate active critical thinking. It's a sequence that just builds on itself, creating this super solid foundation for life.
And that really brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. We're not just talking about some temporary fix to get through a history test or just survive the semester. We are talking about installing a core skill that will serve them for their entire life. I just want to land on this one more time because this is the whole shebang. Motivation? It's fleeting. It comes and goes with moods and how much sleep you got. But an instruction, a clear, repeatable system for how to actually use your own mind, that is permanent. That is true empowerment. So let's just leave you with this question. Forget about the grades for a minute. Forget all the homework battles. When you strip it all away, you're left with this one simple truth. You have the chance to give your child the owner's manual for their own brain. I mean, wouldn't you want them to have that skill forever?